everybody? Professional wrestler Chris Wilde back with another edition of Eagles News Now, and this is my annual draft special. I did one last year on the Eagles' biggest need. Last year for me it was running back. This year I believe it's wide receiver. So let's get right into it. Now I made 5 picks that I think will fit well with this Eagles team. Now look, I'm sure a lot of you guys will disagree with some of the selections that I made and where I put them. Again, I'm not Mel Kiper Jr., even though in my special draft suit that I'm wearing, as Little Carson's a little bit dressed up as well, I do look better than Mel Kiper Jr. I do dress better than Mel Kiper Jr. These are just opinions, fan opinions, just like you guys have. So please don't kill me too bad, but let's get started right away with my number 5 selection. And this is Jeudy out of Alabama. Now, I know a lot of experts have him ranked a little bit higher. Some don't have him ranked this high. I think Jeudy is a really, really explosive receiver. I mean, you look at his highlights, and that's what sticks out to me. Probably out of all the wide receivers in this draft, just from watching tape, he seems to be the best at setting up defensive backs. Maybe the best route runner in this draft. He had 24 touchdowns over his last 28 games. But, you know, the reason why I have him ranked at number 5 is because that Alabama team was so talented. I mean, he has Henry Ruggs also on that team. So sometimes he was going up against maybe like a team's 3rd best defensive back in the slot. You know, he's kind of got like a linear style of play. It doesn't look so fluid. And he really had some easy drops on some of the film that I watched. Really no elite traits for Jeudy, but man, he is very, very explosive. And I think he would fit well with some of the things that this Eagles team does. So that's number 5 for me. Jeudy going to try to keep this as short as possible, guys. So let's jump right into my number 4. This is where I selected or where I put Miles Sanders last year, and the Eagles ended up taking him. So maybe this guy will have that same effect. And look, every year and every draft, there's always guys that drop and end up being really, really good wide receivers. Just some examples. You go back to 2014, Devontae Adams. You know, everyone said that he was basically just a product of a good Fresno offense. 2016, Michael Thomas. They said he ran too slow at the combine. DK Metcalf last year, us Eagle fans know all too well that he dropped because lack of production in college, and he had some bad drills at the combine. But we would have rather had him than J.J. Arcega-Whiteside by sure. I think this guy is one of these guys that could drop to 21. The Eagles could possibly even get him in the 2nd round maybe. But to me, number 4 is Denzel Mims out of Baylor. The dude is a physical freak. 6'3" with a 34-inch arms. Played in the Big 12. A very intelligent guy. He's a good route runner. He plays outside, which is what the Eagles really need, is a guy to play outside. Makes really tough catches. Again, he's explosive. You know, he can beat defensive backs. I mean, he's 6'3", but he ran a 4.3. I mean, the dude, just look at him on tape. Some of the catches he makes are just really amazing. Contested catches, something that the Eagles need badly. I think he's going to bully some defensive backs. I think that could be a negative too, because he's probably going to draw a lot of pass interference in today's NFL. Another negative for him is he needs work on some of his routes. Play style, and guys are going to think I'm crazy, but his play style to me resembles like a Randy Moss or an AJ Green. The dude, his arm length is going to help him a lot. And you look at some of these highlights here, his arm length he uses to get separation like deep in routes. He tricks defensive backs really well with his dead leg release. I love this guy. I love everything about this dude. He's going to need some work on those routes. But, man, this is a guy that could really help this Eagles offense. Size, speed, demeanor. I think he can be coached well. He's number 4 for me, guys. I would not be upset if the Eagles drafted Denzel Mims. So, and who knows? I say that this is a guy that could drop or maybe not get picked up in the first round, but he might. I mean, this wide receiver class is so good that you just don't know where these guys are really going to go. And that brings me to, man, you guys are going to think I'm crazy for this. My number 3 ranked wide receiver is Henry Ruggs out of Alabama. A lot of guys have him ranked as number 1, especially after his performance at the Combine, running in the 4.2s. Henry Ruggs is explosive. He's physical. He's strong. He's everything that you want as a wide receiver. Reminds me of Tyreek Hill, just a little bit slower. And we all know what Tyreek Hill did for that Kansas City offense. Henry Ruggs is a guy that's a game changer. Okay, he can change a game. He can go. I see this, and it's like Tyreek Hill, where you can go all game without doing anything, and then just a couple explosive plays, and we saw that in the Super Bowl. A couple of explosive plays really change things. I mean, you think of Deshaun Jackson, how he changes things, and I'm putting this. I'm not comparing him to Deshaun, but I'm just letting, for Eagle fans, this is a guy like Deshaun changes games. Henry Ruggs is another guy you can put in punt returns. He can do a lot of things. He can do a lot of things that the Eagles like as far as screen plays, and we all know and this is kind of what the NFL is now. Wide receiver screens, slants. Love his attitude, love his toughness. I guess if you look at a couple negatives for this dude, route running needs work. I mean, I'll probably say that for a couple more wide receivers. And he kind of gets in trouble when he's pressed. And again, he came from, an Alabama team that was just so talented. I mean, who do you really single out if you're a defense? And I was listening to Chris Sims and the way that he was talking about some of these wide receivers, and I couldn't agree more when he said that most of the time with these speed guys, you have to sacrifice toughness, you have to sacrifice hands, but not with Henry Ruggs at all. Great hands, tough, competitive. He's my number 3, and with the glowing remarks I'm giving, you would think he'd be my number 1, but he's not. So let's go to number 2 and a lot of guys don't like this guy, Justin Jefferson out of LSU. I've heard a lot of Eagles fans saying this is Jordan Matthews 2.0. I could not disagree more. I understand he played about 90% of the time in the slot. And the Eagles really need an outside receiver, but I think he can play outside. He did play outside receiver in college as well. Like I said, 90% of the time he was in the slot. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, but he plays a lot bigger than that, I think. You look at DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, they play a lot of the times in the slot as well. But these are outside guys. Great route runner, creates separation, really kind of snatches the ball out of the air, takes it away. I really like the way that he can win on the outside, breaks tackles, amazing hands. And this is a guy that played against some great competition. I would compare him college to like T. Higgins. What I didn't like about T. Higgins was he didn't play against great competition, and a lot of his numbers came against weak teams. This is the opposite with Justin Jefferson. This dude played against Texas, Florida, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and he played well against these teams. Again, another thing is he played with a great quarterback, and Joe Burrow is probably the number 1 pick this year, and he was his go-to guy. I really like Justin Jefferson. I don't have much negative to say about him at all. Again, this is a guy that could fall to the Eagles. Adam Schefter was on TV on the radio the other day saying he doesn't think that the Eagles are going to try to trade up to get a Henry Ruggs, which they would need to. And they might not have to if you get Justin Jefferson or Denzel Mims, who I talked about, at 21. And we'll see what happens with Yannick Ngakoue, and if they decide to trade for him, what draft picks they'll have available. But you could get a guy like Justin Jefferson at 21, and I would be happy with that. I know a lot of Eagle fans are kind of on this guy. Watching his tape, and I watched a couple of LSU games this year, obviously, as everybody did. I think he's going to be a good pro. I think he's NFL ready. So let's go to number 1, and this guy's number 1 on a lot of boards, ranked number 1. A lot of guys, what am I looking for? Mock drafts as far as wide receivers go. And that's CeeDee Lamb. again, another guy, very, very, very hard to find a negative to CeeDee Lamb. Great route runner, ran a 4.5, but I think he plays better. He's faster than 4.5, even though that's what he ran at the combine. You're never going to see the first guy tackle him. He breaks tackles, makes the first guy miss. He has everything, man. He can play outside. He can play inside. DeAndre Hopkins' body with, like, Deshaun Jackson type speed to me. The dude, he's just everything that you want in a wide receiver. Probably the best wide receiver prospect the last couple years. And again, this wide receiver class is just stacked with talented guys. He is probably the most talented guy out of all of them. Now, the Eagles would have to trade up to get CeeDee Lamb. There's no way that he falls to 21. I will bet the rest of this suit, which isn't much, on that. He's not going to fall to 21, so you're going to have to try to get up there. It's going to be him or Ruggs are the first taken, I believe. But yeah, he looked great in midnight green, as all of these guys would. I mean, it was so hard to rank these guys because they're so good. I mean, so many of these guys could come in here. Like I said, T. Higgins, I kind of like T. Higgins. I kind of like KJ Hamler. He almost made my list, but he's got bricks for hands, man. I've seen too many times where the ball hits him in the face or bounces off his chest. Even though he's one of the fastest guys in this draft, one of the most explosive guys in this draft. KJ Hamler was very close to making this list, but I couldn't put him ahead of Jerry Jeudy. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. The potential of Jeudy, I think, is greater than Hamler, but this could be a guy that the Eagles pick, a KJ Hamler, in the second round, or just seeing what they do with these picks they have, and if there's going to be any trades. However, I think the Eagles are going to come out good, and this might be the reason why they haven't done anything on offense, on the offensive side of the ball this offseason yet, especially a wide receiver. We expected them to sign somebody, trade for somebody, but look, if you've got Deshaun Jackson, if J.J. Arcega-Whiteside somehow becomes something, Greg Ward, and if Alshon does stay in this team and comes back, and then you add a guy like Justin Jefferson or Henry Ruggs or Denzel Mims, you've got a pretty decent wide receiver core there to go with the other, the other pieces on your team. I mean, could you imagine having Henry Ruggs come in? You got a running back, and then do a 2 tight end set. Like, you've got Ertz and Goddard and Sanders on the field. I mean, what would you do? Would you go play man-to-man with Henry Ruggs with that kind of talent around? It just causes so much disarray for a defense. If I'm the Eagles, I would trade up for I think Henry Ruggs is realistic to trade up for. CeeDee Lamb, you'd have to give up a lot to move up to get him. But again, any of these guys to me will be great Philadelphia Eagles guys. And again, I tried to keep this short because I didn't want to, I think my last draft video last year, very long and drawn out. I didn't want it to be this. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks to all the new subscribers. I'm trying, man. We're almost halfway there to the 1,000 subscriber mark. Again, in a dream world, I'd have 1,000 subscribers and be able to do live reactions during the draft mobily. That doesn't seem like it's going to happen. However, I love everything that you guys are doing, man. Thank you for liking and comments. I love to debate, and that's another thing that's great about live is you get to debate with your subscribers, and I love that, man. We're all, at the end of the day, we're all Eagle fans. So again, thanks, guys. Leave your comments, like, share, and subscribe. Me and little Carson are out. Go Birds.